The views and opinions expressed in this presentation are those of the producer and those appearing in the show and do not necessarily represent the views of DerryCam, the Town of Derry, or any of its staff or affiliates. Hi, I'm Anthony Henry. Welcome back to America's Ass. We're in episode 76 today. It snowed today, which I'm really mad about. I had to wear my winter jacket, which I normally don't have on until December. So to anyone who's not in New Hampshire or is down south, I'm very jealous. But we're in New Hampshire, and we're here with two great New Hampshire people from the neighboring town of Chester. Please welcome Representative Mary Ford and Selectman Dick Trask. Thank you for being here. Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Mary Ford, and I am from Chester, New Hampshire, and I represent Chester at the state legislature. I'm very pleased to be doing that.
And I'm Dick Trask. I'm a selectman in Chester, and we're here to talk all things Chester.
All right, so I guess we'll start with Chester. We had some turnover in the last election, some good turnover in Chester. A lot of good things coming there, so excited to hear about it.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about the turnover, seeing you brought that up. We did manage to flip a couple of seats on the school board, which was fantastic. And a selectman got reelected. So the school board was really important that we got some Republicans on the school board. So
Two more people.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So how unsustainable was the Chester School District at that time? Were they going down a bad path and you needed change badly?
Yes, I would say that they were, our test scores were low, our expenditures were high, and I think we're headed in the right direction. It's a little too early to tell, but I think we're going to be headed in the right direction. We did get hit with the healthcare thing from a lot of the other towns got hit with, from Health Trust and school care. So
The math scores and the reading scores increased significantly. However, as a career educator, I would like for them to reduce the cost of their administrators. For a school district that has 504 students, I think we have a need to reduce that.
So with that, we recently saw some interesting developments in Concord. They have established a study committee to reduce SAU sizes to make consolidated, maybe regional or county school districts.
That's similar to what they are doing currently in Vermont. And they see that the superintendent is more of a manager of buildings as opposed to a curriculum person. And it makes sense, and it would significantly decrease the cost the school districts are paying for administrators.
Yeah. I know a lot of people in the local dairy groups have been very nervous about it, some of whom may be watching. But I think, I find things like that really paradoxical, in that states that are complete opposites of us, like Vermont, will do that. It'll be championed by, in theory, the same group of people that are trashing it the next state over. I find things like that really interesting.
it is very interesting.
Yeah.
I like the idea because it's in keeping with New Hampshire philosophy in that it would truly be local control. So it's not by district, it's by school, which could be, I think, very powerful.
That's what we've seen in the House over the last couple of years, giving parents and students more freedom.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, so Derry, we're in a similar spot with our test scores. I believe we're in the 40s and 50s in math and English and science, which is not good. As I mentioned last episode, our budget does appear to be making a sizable jump. We're going from about $104 million to $115 million, about. I did meet with some senior administration recently, and I believe we can get that number down a little bit. But we're in a really tough spot where last local election, March of this year, we approved a new teacher contract, which has given a lot of raises, a 7% raise. I I believe, this year, and then we're going to see another raise next year. The facilities bond was approved, and that was $25 million.
Oh.
So I believe we're starting to pay that off in the next tax bill, I believe. So that's going to hit Derry very hard, and it's going to go up from there.
Now, in Chester, the negotiated contract with the teachers increased the pay over the next 3 years, which was needed. I will share, I'm still puzzled as to why we paid over $300,000 for a playground for the school. I would prefer that money to have gone to the teachers in terms of pay raises, but the town voted for the playground.
Yeah, and I get really nervous when I see these test scores, especially in my age group, because these are the people that I'm going to have to not live with, but, have on my level once I'm out there in the workforce. I mean, I'm graduating in less than a year from high school, which is still crazy for me to say because I've been doing the show since freshman year. So, been doing it a while, more than I thought, but college is coming. That's going to be a big burden on a lot of people. I'm just hoping people have a plan in my age group.
Well, I, for the last decade, have been outraged by how expensive college has gotten. I feel that we need to reimagine how we're preparing the next generation of Americans. And so as we look at the high cost and the increase in college expenses, I really think that we need to begin to look at how apprenticeship programs, even at the pre-apprenticeship programs at the high school level, can feed into an apprenticeship program that would lead to a baccalaureate degree, if that's what's needed. What we have found is that the apprenticeship program is so very powerful because we want them, when they begin the apprenticeship program, to be earning both a salary and benefits. So once they graduate from high school, to be earning both a salary and benefits while they're gaining experience toward their career. And if they need the college experience, it becomes more affordable. The average undergraduate student loan debt in New Hampshire is $39,415. And when you look at the average beginning pay, it's almost a 1-for-1. And just to help people understand how this has changed so significantly, granted, I graduated from college in the early 70s. My total student loan debt was $2,600. My first beginning pay in Hollis, New Hampshire was $11,000. So it was only 24% of my beginning pay. Therefore, at age 25, we were able to buy our first house. That is not an option for this coming generation. And we really need to address this because part of the American dream is owning, buying a house, and building equity over time. So we are really hurting this younger generation. So we need to really rethink how we're doing things.
And I think that's kind of a multifaceted issue in that it snowballs into other major topics in the state, such as housing.
Yes.
And housing costs.
Yes. Yes. And you might even want to speak to this, but housing is outrageous. Now, has it helped that how many millions of illegal immigrants have been brought into this country and they're taking up housing? I don't know. What we do know is that the interest rate is high and it's just not available. So this is where I'm going to let Dick step in.
Wow.
What's the medium home price in Chester?
Medium home price is $650, approximately.
Derry's about
Mid-
$550.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Chester is we're doing some things to offset taxes, some revenue things. Recently, I've been working with the BEA, the Bureau of Economic Affairs, and what we did is we got a economic revitalization zone set up in Chester, and we're trying to attract some businesses to Chester. We've got a very limited amount of commercial space. We're not like Derry, who can offset their school taxes with commercial taxes. We do that, but the main issue that Chester has is we have no middle class housing, and middle class housing is extremely important. And what we're building is the $1 million homes. We've got tons of $1 million homes going in all over the place. We even have some few low-income houses going in, but we don't have anything middle class. And people can't go out and get a job and buy their first house, spending $1 million. They have to own a $500,000 house first. But we're not building any of the $500,000 houses, and a lot of that has to do with the zoning and the fact that we're putting a lot of property into a conservation easement. That's one of the things that I've discussed significantly in my town meetings and so on and so forth. Actually, in the selectmen's meeting, not in front of the town meeting. But the main thing is when you look at the state of New Hampshire, you're looking at about 35% of the state of New Hampshire is in a conservation easement. 14% of the state of New Hampshire is owned by the federal government, 10% of the state of New Hampshire is owned by the municipalities, and 5% of the state of New Hampshire is owned by 10% is owned by the state and 5% is owned by the municipalities. That's 60% of the state of New Hampshire is either controlled by the government or set aside for the community. That is a large amount of land that is set aside. And for me, I don't understand why. I mean, there are different people that claim that all the land should be operated and controlled by the government, but those people they vote for Mandani.
They are Manda.
Yeah, so we really have to take a really hard look at what we're doing with our conservation property and not put as much away. I mean, it's just a simple matter of mathematics. How much is enough when it comes to conservation easement? So.
Well, I think what you just said is really scary because that sounds like an Orwell book.
Well, it was 100% ownership of land was first presented by Karl Marx. He was the first one that said that the government should own 100% of the land. So, it's scary.
Do we know where that percentage was maybe 10 years ago?
I don't know, but I know that I've asked people in the conservation department the conservation committee in my town, and I asked them what their goal was, and they said we're just going to keep going. I asked the people at the Department of Environmental Services, I said, what's your goal? I mean, you're at 35% now. What are you trying to get to? 30, 40%, 50%? No, we're just going to keep going, they say. And I'm like, okay, there's no plan.
I know our local conservation commission in Derry, this year they have been more aggressive than they have ever been, I've been told. They've purchased some land on English Range Road. I don't know if anyone knows where that is, but it's a fairly major road in town. There's a lot of like open fields and power lines and stuff, and I believe they made a lot of strides to get that there. Young Road, there's a lot of conservation there. So I think it's one of those little issues that people don't think of.
Yeah, it is. It is an issue, and if you ask somebody what they think about conservation land, 9 times out of 10 they're going to say it's great, and it is great. I'm an avid hunter. I like to hunt. I like to go fishing. I like to do all that stuff. But I also like to be able to have my children live close to me and not have to move out of state because they can buy a $500,000 house down the street.
I remember about a month ago we were at a police event, and I remember you said that a lot of employees in your town would like to live there, but they can't.
Oh, absolutely. You can, if you want to have an effective police force or effective fire department, they have to live close. They need to be parts of the community and understand how the community is policed, and they need to live close enough to be able to respond to a fire. You got to have you got to have a balanced portfolio of housing. And that is what we're missing, not only in New Hampshire, not only in Chester, not only in New Hampshire, but in this country. You got to have a balanced portfolio of housing.
So are we going to be seeing anything at the state level over the next year that pertains to that, do you believe?
There are several housing bills that are on the docket for this coming season. So we'll see what happens. There were, I think, 8 last year, but they didn't go very far. So maybe this coming year they will.
I believe only 1 or 2 was signed fully into law by the governor.
There were a few changes that they made. Some of the changes that they made are probably going to be detrimental. Like we have literally 3 properties in Chester that are zoned commercial, and one of the changes they made at the state level was that if it is zoned commercial, they can put multifamily homes on there. Multifamily homes would be great in Chester, just not in the 3 spots that we have that are commercial. So we need a little bit of commercial. We need a little bit of multifamily homes, middle class housing, that type of stuff. Again, it goes to a balanced portfolio.
Yeah, and smaller and more rural towns such as Chester, and that's really what the majority of the state is, smaller rural towns whose economies are hurting because they can't get people there. Not all larger towns such as the Derrys or the Londonderrys or Manchesters. Dover and Rochester are quickly gaining their populations as well. Raymond. Not every municipality has resources.
True. And the more housing that come in, the more expensive it is on a per 1,000 basis when you're assessing the taxes.
Yeah.
So if you add additional services, add additional students to your school, the cost of school goes up. If you add additional services, and you need the fire department, you need the police department, you need roads. The roads are getting more and more expensive to maintain and upkeep. So.
At the state level, as we look at the state budget, we need to increase, we're hoping, our business tax revenue. So we're hoping to recruit more businesses to the state, but the issue is it's housing and it's the road infrastructure, because I think we're already experiencing a significant increase in traffic in the Derry area. And I know that in Chester we are because of what they want to do, but the road infrastructure is huge. Because as we want to go north, we don't have anything that really goes north except for 93.
The number one thing that, I mean, if you look at New Hampshire, you look at, we're the freest state in the nation. We have the best, we're in the top 5 when it comes to economic prosperity. We're in the top 5 with the least amount of corruption. But we're 44th when it comes to the cost of living. And that's a hard pill to swallow if you're a corporation trying to bring your business to New Hampshire, because you're looking at the salaries and you're going to say, oh, the salaries need to be higher because it's the 44th. So they don't want to bring their businesses to New Hampshire. And that is, I have to take my hat off for the governor. Kelly did a great job sending that sign down to D.C. or to New York. Do you see the sign? That was a fantastic move. I really, really appreciate that. We do need to attract businesses, but in order for us to attract businesses, we need to lower the cost of living.
So a couple months ago, I had Brian Cole on to talk about his run for Congress, and one thing he brought up, because he represents Manchester in the House, was that many biotech and medical companies are trying to move here.
Yeah, Regen.
Yeah, Regen
Valley. Yep.
And a lot of housing companies too. I saw a little while ago a bunch of legislators took a tour of a tiny home company. I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So businesses want to come here, but it needs to be sustainable for them to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been told by a colleague who comes from industry that if you can get the industry here, they'll bring the housing development people with them.
Absolutely.
But it's that 40. What did you say? 44.
We're 44th.
Yeah,
in
we
the
need
nation.
to address that. That
Yeah.
is huge. That is huge.
Part of it is energy. We need our electrical costs here in the state are very, very high when it comes to the rest of the country, and we need to get energy here. We need to get our electrical prices down.
A little while ago, I attended an energy event put on by Americans for Prosperity, and the one thing everyone kept saying was we need a free market for energy. We cannot afford Eversource basically monopolizing the state.
That's true.
When I think of what's happened to our electric bill in the last 5 years, holy Toledo, I couldn't agree more. huge.
I honestly think that our electrical infrastructure is going to be highly aided by technology in the next probably 5 years. I've been kind of following the MNRs, the modular nuclear reactors. Have you seen those?
Yeah, another topic that I discussed with Representative Cole was nuclear energy, the potential for a reactor
on
in
that.
Berlin.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Now we could also attract businesses that will bring their own power. Some businesses will bring something like that in for themselves because they need a lot of energy for that, and then the excess energy could be fed into the grid, which would cause the cost of electricity to go down.
Yeah, so we're looking at a pretty stacked year for the legislature. I believe 1,500 bills last I saw about there.
Yep.
What are some highlights that you see?
Well, we're really looking at wanting to increase business. So we've got. I'm part of a freshman legislative committee that's really pushing that. We're also, some of the other things that we're looking at are voter ID. We're really wanting to continue that. I'm trying to think of all the things that I've put forward so far. You've asked me a question and I can't bring it up, so I'll let you ask another.
Well, I think that's good because it means you guys are working on good stuff.
Well, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. So I'm still digging, but it's not coming.
So I guess we'll go back to Chester. What's going on at the town level? Derry's kind of, around this time of year, we're really quiet. There's not a lot going on between when the budget kicks in and when the filing period for the election is. So curious how Chester could be different.
Well, we're in budget season.
Yeah.
So budget season is very, very busy. The school's in the process of negotiating their budget with the budget committee. The town's getting ready to put their budget forward, and we're crunching all the numbers and trying to make sure that we're not doing a huge increase. We just set the tax rate last month for the town of Chester. The tax rate's not going up that much. The tax rate in the town actually went down. We had a revaluation year, and we had a very, very lean budget moving forward. So the tax rate for the town went down, but of course that was offset by the school district. So the school district drove the tax rate up, so there is an increase of about 50 cents per thousand, 53 cents per thousand, I think it is. But the town side, we're doing pretty good.
I think that increase, though, has been exacerbated by the reassessment of all of our properties.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the increase was significant for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I think we've been there 25 years, and the assessment of our property is 3 times what it was when we bought the property, which is significant. So,
Yeah, when you keep putting land in a conservation easement and you keep putting it into open space and you don't develop it, I mean, that's what we're doing by putting it in a conservation easement. We're controlling the manufacturing of houses. We're controlling the houses, and we could talk about what it means when the government tries to control the means of production of the housing market, what that actually is, but well, I'll be nice.
there's a pull and tug. People move to New Hampshire because they like the rural nature.
Absolutely.
And so now, as we need to increase businesses to address our need moving forward, there are people who are not so excited about that. They want us to maintain our rural nature, and yet we need to build more houses. We need to bring in industry. So it's a tug and pull. There's no doubt about it.
One of the things that I have recommended to control the housing costs is we have an open space subdivision in Chester, and that allows the developer to cluster all the houses in one area, and they set a bunch of it a bunch of land aside for open spaces. That keeps them. It keeps the price of building houses down by limiting the amount of roads that they have to build. It keeps the cost of road maintenance down because there's less roads. But what that does is it gives an incentive to the builders to build houses, and the houses that they're building are the $1 million homes. So one of the things that I have recommended was that we actually take the open space subdivision and make that only available for middle class housing. Something, and when I say middle class housing, I mean something. Let's say you take your town's median price that you asked earlier is about $650. And you do 100 or 110% of the median income price or the home price in your town, and you say if you're building houses in this range, those are the only ones that qualify for open space subdivision, and you get density bonuses and so on and so forth. So that's one of the ideas that I had to move forward with making some changes in the housing market.
There's also discussion at the state level of doing college plus housing, so that they're the mini homes, about 1,100 square feet, and they're clustered together, and people can only stay in them for 5 years, but a certain percentage is put into a savings account, so they can use it as a down payment at the end of 5 years. So it's a way of providing possibly an entry level into buying a home, which I think would be very powerful.
I agree.
Fantastic.
Well, we are just about out of time, so feel free to give any closing statement you may have.
I'll let you go first.
I just want everyone to relax. I know that the election last week was quite upsetting for a lot of people. I know a lot of people in Chester woke up and realized that 40% of their neighbors are socialists, and that was very disturbing to a lot of them. So relax and calm down. Things are gonna be fine.
And I'd like to add, the beauty of New Hampshire is it's a live free or die state, but we'd like to almost add another caveat to this. How about live free and thrive? So come to New Hampshire.
Absolutely.
And as I say pretty much every episode, pay attention, especially at the local level. That's where most of the important decisions are being made. Funnily enough, last show I said, start getting involved, start wanting to run for local office. Yeah. And our filing period for local office is in January, and we already have one candidate who has said he will sign up for town council. So get involved, make the jump. It might seem difficult. It's going to be a little bit of time. You're going to have a pretty time-consuming little hobby because you're not going to get paid a lot. It is a hobby. But it will be worth it. You will get to see good change in your community, especially here in Derry or surrounding towns such as Chester. And you won't regret that you did it. I'm Anthony Henry. This has been America's Ass. Thank you for watching.